Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namaste, Gaurakaruna Swarpai, Madana Krishna Krishna Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namaste, Gaurakaruna Swarpai.
Haribul. Okay, so before we start the lecture proper, I'd like to give as introduction to the life of Lord Chaitanya. The reason why he came to this world. And we've already discussed that in the previous lectures that I've had, I think 2 weeks ago. The reason why he came to this planet. Let me ask Lizelle, why did Lord Chaitanya come to this world? Okay, very good. So it's not only to know and understand, but it's really to live with this wisdom, in this wisdom. Another thing, Jaiza. Okay. Another Rama. Okay, very good. Dulce, why did he come? Yes, that's one. And I think that's the foremost, yeah. We want to experience the joy that the devotees are experiencing, loving and serving him. Kay, Miss Kay. Very, very good, yeah. Actually, Lord Chaitanya is the father of humility. Madam Fries. Okay, very good. Perfect. Anyone from the brahmacharis? Again? Did you still remember that? Okay, so all your answers are correct. And actually, those are real answers. So if you can still remember, yung camera, na malapit ba? Yun ba? Or malayo? Malayo. Zoom in. If you can still remember our previous discussions that Lord Chaitanya, seeing the devotees so immersed in serving and loving him, he wanted to taste that love. Okay? Parang, ba't ang saya nila? Okay, seeing them like, why, how come they're experiencing like that? So me, myself, I also wanted to experience such love and joy that they're experiencing. So that's why, that's one thing also that he came to this world. And another is to teach us the Sankirtan movement, okay? The propagation of the holy names of Lord Krishna himself. Lord Krishna himself came to this world as Lord Chaitanya to teach us how to love him. Okay? So there's no better teacher than the Lord himself. because He's really the one teaching us how to love Him. And another that I'd like to recap is the principal teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. Who can still remember that? One of the missions of Lord Chaitanya is that to propagate the Sankirtan movement, and that's why he was able to meet personalities just like Srila Rupa Goswami. And what were the teachings, or what are the teachings that he imparted to Rupa Goswami? Madam Stella, can you remember? That's the latest. Humility. Okay. What else? That was last Friday. Rama? Surrender to Krishna. Okay. So I've written here very important points regarding the teaching of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. So the principal teachings of Krishna consciousness regarding one's eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the ultimate goal of life is to return home back to Godhead. So that's one of his teachings to Rupa Goswami. And another thing is the signs of devotional service. Do you have any idea of what is devotional service? Murari? We keep on hearing that from Sir Bhagavandas. And with any lecturers here, devotional service. Service with devotion. So any idea from that? Can I remember, Papa? Who can help? Madam Fries? Devotional service. Okay, these are two processes of devotional service. Another? Jaisa? Just a recap. Okay. Apply in life. Okay? Madam Devi. Okay, so all your answers are correct. The devotional service is when you offer your activities or anything that you do, anything that you have, you offer it to the Supreme Person. And when you offer it with love and devotion, it's a kind of devotional service. But what Lord Chaitanya is teaching the Rupa Goswami is devotional service, that when you offer something to him, you do not expect anything in return. That is the meaning of devotional service. So many people are rendering service to God. They're offering their harvest, the proceeds of their work, many things that they engage in the service, but it is always in the It is always thinking that the result will be experienced by them. It's like, I do this because I know. I chant because I know I will become. I chant the holy names because I know it will give me fulfillment. I chant because my confusion, my chaotic mind will be peaceful. So it is always it is always for our pleasure. So when we say pure devotional service, it is always for the pleasure of God, not thinking of yourself. Because when you offer something to God and it is for His pleasure, automatically we are pleased, we are satisfied. Just like, for example, there's this typhoon that's happening in a certain place. So we think of helping those victims of the typhoon. Because we are thinking that when we help, we are blessed. When we give, we receive something in return. So devotional service is when you give as the end itself. You don't think of anything. It's up to Krishna. It's up to Him. After you give, then you forget. It's not that, oh, I prayed, but how come I failed in the exam? I prayed so hard, but how come I just got very low grades? Yeah? So that is not the kind of service that we're talking here. Can you please fold your feet? Okay. So, he taught Rupa Goswami this devotional service. And to be able for Rupa Goswami to understand what devotional service is, Lord Chaitanya discussed this devotional service piecemeal by piecemeal. Do you know what is that, piecemeal? It's like getting a glimpse or a bit of it that describe so that you will understand. Okay? So, it is just like a great ocean. Your devotional service is like a great ocean. So it is not possible to show all its length and its breadth. However, by taking just one drop of the ocean, you can taste it and understand what the ocean of devotional service actually is. Okay, so hindi na lang yung ina-explain yung the totality or the entirety of devotional service, but just a glimpse, just a taste of what is devotional service. That is what Lord Chaitanya discussed with Rupa Goswami. In this way, Lord Chaitanya explained the signs of reincarnation also. Can you remember this? I explained this last Friday. The signs of reincarnation. What is the process of reincarnating? How does one reincarnate? I don't believe in reincarnation. This is my first existence. That's what you can hear from people. But whether you believe or not, or it's not that you believe or you don't believe, there is reincarnation. It exists. So what it is, or what is it? Remember? You still remember? Have any idea? The transmigration? I think I did not really give so much emphasis on this, but I explain. No. It's having the signs of reincarnation, which in this universe there are innumerable living entities, just like us, the insects, the animals, the birds, the snakes, the bacteria, things that we cannot see, and things that we can see, moving or non-moving. Remember that? I explained. According to their own fruitive activities, are transmigrating from one species of life to another, and from one planet to another. So that means we are now having this human form, and we are very aware of what we are doing, for whom, and what is it that we are doing. Okay? And we are responsible for every action that we do in this lifetime. Okay? That is why we're saying we've been here since time immemorial. We keep on changing bodies. From one body, transmigrate to another body. From one place to another, depending on our action. That is why this having a human form of life is very crucial. What do you mean by crucial, Alan? Having this human form of life is very crucial. It means more than important. Very, very important. Why? Okay, any idea now? Why do we have to be very responsible with our actions in this lifetime? Narshinga. Loading. Janardan. I forgot already. Try, Jaisa.
We're so blessed to have this human form of body, is because this human this body form is the highest degree, because we can think, we can realize, and also we can yeah, we can listen, and we can act what is according what is being asked. So we can easily praise God. We can easily offer what uh, what what God wants us. So in that, the realization about the science of truth is there. So we can, because we can think.
Okay. Because we can think, we can feel, we can experience. What else? Thank you. Another idea. Madam Stella.
This human form that we have is very crucial, since this will reflect on the next form of life that will come after our life.
Okay. So that means it is through this body that we can really listen and understand, have a grasp of what's being taught to us, and immediately we can apply in our life. So just like, for example, now, or the moment you come to Madana, you are being taught your eternality, your essence, position, and function. And then, because you listen to it, you understand it, then you realize it, and you follow certain process to be able to apply what is being taught. The essence that we are eternal spirit, soul, part and parcel of God, that we are dominated children of the Lord, and that we are meant for His service. And with that, we immediately apply in life. It's not just talking, but we really walk our talk. And the difference between us and the animals is that they also have the propensities like eating. We also eat. They sleep, we also sleep. What else? We defend, they also defend. They fight, right? Spontaneously, they defend themselves. And they produce babies, they produce, if it's a dog, puppies, and same as us, we can also produce youngs or children. So the difference between them and us is we are capable of loving the Supreme Person. And because they are not capable of doing it, because their senses are very limited and their intelligence is limited, it is our duty to feed them something that can elevate their consciousness. Just like when we offer our food to the deity, then the food becomes prasadam, and we feed the hungry or the thirsty pets or our neighbors that are in a sense ignorant of the truth. We can elevate their consciousness by feeding them prasadam. So that is the great difference between us and them, because we know how to balance, we know how to think, we know how to feed, and it is always for the glories of God that we do things. With them, it's just instinct that dictates them what to do. Instinct that they are hungry, they eat. It's instinct that they bark and they fight. No reason at all. They automatically do things. But with us, before we fight, we think, I am responsible for what I will do. I might be imprisoned after this. I might as well defend myself by running. So we can check. Okay, there's balance in everything that we do. And also another teaching of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami is that we are being encaged in this body, in material existence, and we are continuing to exist, and we continue to exist. We've been existing since time immemorial. So it's a process of taking birth and then death, then birth, disease, old age, and then death. So it's a cycle of birth, death, birth, death. So now we are taught to cut this wheel of birth and death. And how is that done? How can we cut the wheel of birth and death? Can't. One process that we can cut the wheel of birth and death. It's stated in Bhagavad Gita that when there is birth, death is certain, sure. And when there is death, birth is certain. So it's a cycle. So that means our existence now is not just now. We've been existing in the past. So how to cut that wheel or that vice of birth and death? By the things that we always do here at the temple, and even if we are in our own house, to surrender. How to surrender? What is the process? Yes, it is the chanting that we can surrender. We keep saying, surrender to God, surrender. How to surrender? Where do you surrender? To the pictures, to the poster? To what? It is the easiest and the most comfortable and most practical way of surrendering, the chanting. We may think the potency of it, is it that potent? But as we heard the stories and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the past saints and sages in the scriptures, it's stated there, those people who have succeeded in this process, just like our spiritual master, just like Narada Muni, just like all the spiritual masters in the line of Parampara, they've all succeeded. And these are great heroes, not those heroes that we know from the social media. The heroes that we are talking about here are those transcendental personalities that are really helping us spiritually. That from what we are now, we kind of elevate from this consciousness of being so lowly. What do you mean by lowly? Consciousness that's lowly. Sir, what do you mean by lowly? Rama? Devi? A kind of low birth or lowly consciousness. There's high consciousness and there's low consciousness. When you think that you are your material body, it's a kind of a lowly consciousness. Because the truth is we are not our material body. This is just an engagement. Going back to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, to Rupa Goswami, the engagement in material existence, so being materialistic, thinking that we are matter, thinking that what gives us fulfillment are the material things that we see. That is a kind of lowly activity because we are never satisfied and fulfilled and contented when we fill in ourselves with material things. You will see, how come when I receive cell phone from my mom, I kind of feeling happy? It's just sensual flash. You know sensual flash? It's just flickering. It does not last. So you're happy now that you have that thing, but it does not last. It's temporary. That's why we call it sensual flash. That is not the kind of joy and happiness that each spirit soul is longing for. So what we're talking here is the joy, the happiness that will remain in our heart and in our mind, and it will stick and we get satisfied with it. And that is only felt when you have God in our life. That is the only situation that we feel complete joy and happiness. So the engagement in this material existence actually is not a blessing. It will be a blessing, or it is a blessing when we come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. Just like our situation now. We are so blessed. I can say that we are so blessed because we are able to hear, we are able to encounter the teachings of our dear spiritual master. And through that, we can already get away from this engagement or from this entanglement. Marami na tayong alam na word, no? Entanglement, engagement, encasement, what else? Shackle, lowly. So hindi pala, you can see in the social media, happy birthday, happiest birthday. So, are you really happy with your birthday? So actually, birthday is a kind of reminder of your existence in this world. What have I done? This must be the last existence. But since we are eternally existing, what I mean is that existence in this material body. So we don't aspire anymore to have another body to be able to experience the four miseries. Do you still remember the four miseries? Birth, diseases, old age, and death. Okay. And aside from that, there are still three miseries that we can encounter. Misery caused by Mother Nature, by other living entities, and the mind. This is very crucial. So, having a mind is not pala a big deal after all. It can only be a big deal when your mind is your friend. So how to befriend your mind? How to make it your friend? Oh, nursing ka, you already remember that. How to make friend your mind with your mind. By engaging, totally black out. Murari, how can you make your mind your friend instead of being an enemy? By engaging the mind by following the 9 processes. So what happens when you follow the 9 processes? What happens to the mind? So you're correct that when you do devotional processes of devotional service, the mind will become your friend. Correct. In what way? How can you connect? When you engage, when you chant, what happens? When you engage your senses, your mouth, the sense of speech, sense of smell, sense of hearing, sight, when you engage that, the mind, which is the king of all senses, will be, what happens? Will be purified. Okay? Because of the engagement of devotional service, it gets purified. And what happens if the mind gets purified? It gets pacified. What else? Does it stop from thinking? Does it stop from willing? Does it stop from feeling? It's still active. The mind is forever active. So what do you do with this being active? You tend to control it by engaging it in devotional service. How do you control? So when your mind thinks of something that will separate you from the real activity or the goal in life, that you should negate, that you should refuse, or that you should not entertain. And most likely, when the mind tells us to do things, we cannot refuse. We cannot say no to our mind. Why? Why is it? But when the mind tells us, play ML, open YouTube, go there, eat this pizza, eat this. When your mind tells you to do that, how come we cannot refuse? Because we become? Because we are servant of the mind. The mind is our superior and we are inferior. So what do? We should understand that the mind is our possession. We are not our mind. We should not identify with it. The moment we identify with our mind, automatically you are driven by it. You cannot separate yourself from the mind. So always think, your mind is my possession. Whatever it dictates, I must not follow. The mind tells, oh, Madam Nicharila is talking there. You go to the CR. Parang pasumangil na magwiwi. That's the mind. The mind's telling you, go away. Do not listen. That is not relevant. Do not apply it. That doesn't give you happiness. That's the mind. And you will say, I'm not really happy with what I'm doing. Because you're not dovetailing your life with the process of devotional service. So the engagement in material existence will really put us down. That's why it's called lowly existence, lowly consciousness. Because you're not talking about something high. High means serving God. So there's a saying, simple living, high thinking. What do you mean by that? Simple living, high thinking. When you live simply, it doesn't mean you don't toothbrush, you don't take a bath because you live simply. When you say simple living, it means you only do things which are pleasing to God. Simple. What does God want you to do? Chant, hear, glorify. That's all. God did not tell you to be a doctor. God did not tell you to say, to be a lawyer, be an engineer. No. It is according to your capability that you serve Him. Once you're a teacher now, then you can offer your service to Him. When you're a lawyer now, then you can serve God as a lawyer. But it's not a requirement to be a lawyer, be a soldier, be a fireman. There's no requirement. We've heard there's no hard and fast rules in chanting the holy names. So whatever your position, you're poor, you're rich, you're beautiful, you're not beautiful, you're brown, they are white, they're yellow, it does not matter. Regardless of your body, regardless, because that situation now is just temporary. So what do we do with the temporariness of this body? Engage in the service of the Lord. Okay? So that's the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. About the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatan Goswami, that we need to have what's it? What's the most important thing in life? That we should follow. In every day of our life, you can hear so many advices, so many counsels from Facebook to YouTube to Twitter to Instagram. There's so many advices. And you're confused. One is saying, do this. Diet can be done by removing rice. And this one is diet. You can be very healthy when you eat just enough rice. And the other one is saying, do not eat rice, just eat Quaker oats or something, cereal. We are confused what to follow, what to do in terms of spiritual life. One path says this is better. Another path says it's better. No one tells our path is not good. No one says, our path is not good, do not follow. That's why people speak. That's why preachers speak. They preach because they want you to follow. And the question is, what to follow? And there are three things, there are three processes that we can apply when we choose whom to follow. First, the scriptures. Second, the Lord in the heart. And third is, so we all have scriptures. We all have Lord in the heart. And last is spiritual master. We need to have a spiritual master in our life that serves as our guide. Because how can we hear the Lord in the heart when we're so contaminated? Contaminated tayo, marami tayong naririnig na mga hindi talaga transcendental. So what we hear is just our mind. That's why Paramatma from the outside is the spiritual master. Ang spiritual master is a representation of the Lord inside. Because we cannot hear well. We cannot hear what we hear, the TikTok. What we can hear, the mind. So that we can hear clearly what God wants us to do, it's the spiritual master. So He is Lord from the outside. And it is only in this path that we have three processes. Most paths, they just have the Holy Spirit or the Lord in the heart and scriptures. But they don't have the spiritual master coming from Lord Krishna Himself or God Himself. That's what makes our path very special and bona fide, because we are complete in the processes when we try to choose. Okay? So what is a wise man then? It is already 8:05. What is a wise man then? Brian, I think this time you can answer. What is a wise man? These are all teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Are you wise when you're graduated top notch, or when you are the summa cum laude? Are you wise when you are the president of a very powerful nation? What makes a man wise?
When you try to follow the teachings of the qualified spiritual master,
Perfect.
you can be a wise man.
Yes, that is the wisest person ever. When we take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, we can always hear from our prayers, take shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. So the meaning of the lotus feet is the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master. It is only in that process that we become so safe and we can really attain love for God. Because what he is teaching is bona fide and is coming from God himself. And so we keep saying, we surrender, we approach God. How? How to approach God? Madam Fries? How to approach God?
Engaging in the process.
Yes.
Chanting and hearing the holy name.
Okay. Very good. Another? That's correct? It is only through devotional service that we can approach God. Okay. So, right now in our situation, as students, as teachers, whoever, whatever we are, wherever we are, we do not think anymore of a situation where we can serve and love God. Right now, we can immediately serve Him. And that is by engaging our activities, our daily activities, our whatever we do, whatever we have, whether we have so much, whether we have so little, we can always offer that for God's pleasure. And that is the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Okay? So it's already 8:10, and I think I better stop here. And what I've prepared, that's really the topic of the day. I will not touch it anymore, and maybe I can just touch it when there's a chance for me to do it. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. I cannot open the topic because as I see the audience, they need to have a refresher topics first, or refresher lessons before we enter the real topic. And I think Sir can just discuss this afternoon when we start our celebration. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for listening. And this time we proceed with our ending kirtan so that we can prepare for this afternoon's Gora Purnima celebration. So thank you, Haribol Namaste. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namini Gora Karuna Swarupaya the Krishna Prastayati Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaura Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna